Imagine a chip that can create anything you want. Sounds amazing, right? But this amazing AI chip is a huge problem for Apple and Intel, the two huge giants for the chip industry. Well, this chip exists, and it's called the Snapdragon X Elite. Let's find out more. Qualcomm is a company that makes chips for smartphones, laptops, and other devices. A chip is a small piece of hardware that contains many tiny parts that work together to perform different functions, such as processing data, running programs, and connecting to the internet. Qualcomm's chip is called Snapdragon X Elite, and it's designed to bring the new kind of artificial intelligence, AI, to mobile and PC devices. AI is the ability for a machine to learn from data and perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as understanding language, recognizing images, and generating content. Snapdragon X Elite is a breakthrough chip because it can run generative AI models on the device itself without relying on the cloud or the internet. Generative AI models are the type of AI that can create new and original content, such as text, images, music, or code, based on some input or data. For example, a generative AI model can write a poem, draw a picture, compose a song, or code a program, given some keywords, images, sounds, or instructions. Generative AI models are very powerful and complex, and they usually require a lot of computing power and data to run. Most of the generative AI models today are run on large servers in the cloud, which means that user needs to have a fast and stable internet connection to access them. Qualcomm's Dragon X Elite chip can run generative AI models in the device itself, which means that user can enjoy the benefit of generative AI without depending on the cloud or the internet. This has many advantages, such as faster and smoother performance. Running generative AI models on the device can reduce the latency and lag that often occurs when using cloud-based services. Latency is the delay between sending a request and receiving a response, and lag is the interruption or slowdown of the service. Running generative AI models on the device can make the user experience more responsive and seamless, as the device can generate content faster and more reliably. More privacy and security. Running generative AI models in the device can protect the user and content from being exposed or hacked on the cloud or the internet. The user and content can stay on the device, and the user can have more control over who can access them. Running generative AI models on the device can also prevent the user from being tracked or targeted by advertisers or other third parties who may use the users and contents for their purpose. More creativity and productivity. Running generative AI models on the device can enable the users to create and accomplish more with their devices. The users can use generative AI models to help with various tasks, such as writing, editing, designing, coding, learning, gaming, and entertainment. The users can also use generative AI models to generate new and unique content that can inspire them to express their ideas. Running generative AI models on the device can also allow users to use them offline, which means that the user can create and accomplish more even when they are not connected to the internet. Qualcomm's AI chip is a huge problem for Apple and Intel, which are two of their competitors in the chip market. Apple and Intel also makes chips for smartphones, laptops, and other devices, but they do not have the same level of generative AI capabilities as Qualcomm. Apple and Intel rely more on the cloud and the internet to run generative AI models, which means that their devices are not as fast, private, secure, creative, or productive as Qualcomm. Apple and Intel also do not have the same level of integration and optimization as them, which means that their devices are not as efficient, reliable, or compatible as Qualcomm. Qualcomm's AI chip can give them a significant edge over Apple and Intel, and it can attract more customers and partners who want to enjoy the benefits of generative AI on their devices. Simply, Qualcomm's AI chip is a huge problem for Apple and Intel because it can run generative AI models on their devices itself, which can make the user experience faster, smoother, more private, more secure, more creative, and more productive. Qualcomm's AI chip can also make them more efficient, reliable, and compatible than Apple. Qualcomm's AI chip can revolutionize the mobile and PC industry. Snapdragon X Elite and Apple M3 are two types of chips that are used in laptops and other devices. Qualcomm makes Snapdragon X Elite, while Apple makes the M3. Both chips are based on the ARM architecture, which is a way of designing chips that is different from the traditional x86 architecture used by Intel and AMD. Snapdragon X Elite and Apple M3 have some similarities and differences in terms of performance, efficiency, and features. Performance. Snapdragon X Elite has 12 cores, while the Apple M3 has 8 cores. A core is a part of a chip that can perform a task independently. Having more cores means that the chip can handle more tasks at the same time. However, the number of cores is not the only factor that can affect the performance. The speed and quality of the cores also matter. The M3 has faster and more powerful cores than X Elite. which can make up for the lower number of cores. Apple M3 also has more modern manufacturing process, which means that the chip is smaller and more efficient than Snapdragon X Elite. According to some benchmark, which are tests that measures the performance of chips, Apple M3 has better performance than the Snapdragon X Elite in single-core tasks, which are tasks that only uses one core, such as opening an app or browsing the web. The Snapdragon X Elite has better performance than the Apple M3 in multi-core tasks, which are tasks that use more than one core, such as editing a video or playing a game. Efficiency. Snapdragon X Elite and Apple M3 have different levels of power consumption and heat generation, which affects the battery life and the temperature of the device. The X Elite has a higher power consumption than the M3, which means that it uses more electricity and drains the battery faster. Snapdragon X Elite also generates more heat than Apple M3, which means that it can make the device hotter and reduce its performance. Apple M3 has a lower power consumption than Snapdragon X Elite, which means that it uses less electricity and preserves the battery longer. The M3 also generates less heat than Snapdragon X Elite, which means that it can keep the device cooler and maintain its performance. According to some tests, the Apple M3 is more power efficient than X Elite in most tasks, which means that it can perform better with less energy. Features. Snapdragon X Elite and Apple M3 have different features that can enhance the functionality and user experience for the device. Snapdragon X Elite has a feature called Generative AI. Snapdragon X Elite can run generative AI models in the device itself without relying on a cloud or the internet, which can make the user experience faster, smoother, more private, more secure, more creative, and more productive. Apple M3 has a feature called Unified Memory, which is a type of memory that can be shared by the chip and the graphics card, which is another piece of hardware that handles the visual aspect of the device, such as displaying images and videos. Unified memory can improve the performance and the efficiency of the device, as the chip and the graphics card can access the same data without copying or transferring it, which can save time and energy. Snapdragon X Elite and Apple M3 are two different chips that have their strengths and weaknesses. The X Elite is better at generative AI and multi-core performance, while Apple M3 is better at single-core performance and power efficiency. Snapdragon X Elite is more suitable for users who wants to enjoy the benefits of generative AI on their devices, while the M3 is more suitable for users who want to have a seamless Apple environment and a longer battery life. The Snapdragon X Elite will be a game changer in its market because it can run generative AI models on the device itself without relying on a cloud or the internet. Generative AI models are the type of artificial intelligence that can create new or original content, such as text, images, music, or code, based on some input or data. This can make the user experience faster, smoother, more private, more secure, more creative, and more productive. No other chips in the market can do this, as well as the X Elite. Snapdragon X Elite can revolutionize the mobile and PC industry, and it can challenge the dominance of the other chips makers, such as Apple and Intel. You've learned how Snapdragon X Elite, the amazing AI chip, can create anything you want on your device. But how does this affect Apple and Intel? The two leaders of the chip industry, how will they fight back? Comment your thoughts on this, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.